Welcome back. All right, so some news of the day for your Monday, April 4th, 2022. So, interesting note here on an entry-level contract being signed. Now, I don't cover all of them because there's a lot of them, and it becomes just a whole bunch of names all over. So Emil Heineman signing an entry-level contract with Montreal, I think is noteworthy because he's a second-round pick in 2020 for the Florida Panthers. He is traded. His rights are traded to the Calgary Flames. Calgary then in the Tyler Toffoli trade trades him over to Montreal. So he's already changed hands twice since he was drafted. So signing in Montreal, Finnish-born player. We'll see how things go. They have a good history when it comes to European players playing for the Montreal Canadiens, and it'll be fun to see how he does at the NHL level, considering he was acquired twice. So either two teams made him available, or two teams really wanted his services. So I'll go with two teams wanted his services. It's one way to look at being traded. Your three stars of the week this week, not a huge surprise who's number one. Connor McDavid, 4 games, 5 goals, 3 assists for 8 points. Your second star from the Florida Panthers, Barkov. Exact same numbers. 4 games, 5 goals, 3 assists for 8 points. And then in third, your number 3 star of the week is Varlamov, who has helped lead the Islanders to a pretty solid record lately. He was 3-0-0 this week, .952 save percentage. I think there was one shutout in there for him. So, yeah, overall, Varlamov, excellent week, and a big part of why the Islanders are experiencing at least some semblance of hope in their hunt for a playoff spot. They're, I think, 11 points back of Washington, so it's not going to happen. But I remember not too long ago it was 19 points. So just the Capitals need to clean up things a little bit in their own end and get things going again. And they shouldn't have a problem making the playoffs, but their losing has definitely made things a little more interesting in the East, combined with the winning for the New York Islanders. Toronto, so we've talked about Muzzin before. Muzzin is earmarked to return tomorrow. So not in the lineup tonight. It's likely he returns tomorrow. The Toronto Maple Leafs playing against the Florida Panthers. So that's an interesting one, and we'll see how that affects things. Again, I like their blue line once it's healthy. We'll see how it all works together. For the Winnipeg Jets, Connor and Schmidt, who were both in COVID protocol, have both now been removed from protocol. They're both back with their team, I should say. So both of them returning for Winnipeg. It'll be interesting to see with Winnipeg, too, if they can get on another hot streak, because their odds of making the playoffs are, well, they're slim. Very, very slim. And again, it was going to be a tough slog as it was. But with Vegas continuing to win, I mean, Dallas loses last night, but they've won their share of games lately, too. It makes the hill that much tougher of a climb for the Winnipeg Jets. Cole Perfetti as well. No word on when he's going to return. He hasn't been skating. Upper body injury he suffered on February 17th. He hasn't been skating, so that means he's, I would say, at least 2 weeks out. And, of course, we have less than 4 weeks till the season's over. So it might end up being a season-ending injury for Cole Perfetti. Speaking of which, Jake Sanderson, who signed his entry-level contract, be interesting to see how he signed it. He had hand surgery, so maybe he just signed with the other hand, or just very carefully signed it. But anyways, he is still rehabbing from hand surgery. So his debut with the Ottawa Senators could end up being delayed into next season. It all depends on how that rehab goes and all that fun stuff. But there's no timeline at this point. So as much as we would all like to see Ottawa get all their young guys out on the ice and see how they do together, it might be next fall before we really get to see that all come together. Pittsburgh, Jason Zucker is still being evaluated. Lower body injury he suffered the other night against Minnesota in a game which was his return to action from being out for a while before that. So with him still being evaluated, that tells me it's not a day-to-day thing. They're looking to see just how serious it is. And maybe he ends up being out until the playoffs, right? So we'll get an update on Zucker, I would think, soon. I would think probably tomorrow we may have better idea of the timeline. But for now, it doesn't look great. The good news is Pittsburgh's already shown that they have the scoring depth to make up for the loss of Zucker, because they've been doing it without him for a while. They really wanted to have him back in the lineup, though. Bowen Byram update. He has completed his stint in the AHL. They are treating him with kid gloves right now. They have to. Really, in all honesty, this is all about Byram's future in the NHL. And I think if you take shortcuts to get him back early, you're hurting the rest of his career from there. So With all the concussion issues Byram's had, it's going to be an interesting discussion to be had over the next little while here about Byram's status. And yeah, I wouldn't want to speculate on whether or not Byram is going to end up being a regular with the Avs. At this point, I want to see the kid healthy, and that's the key thing. I just want to see him healthy and not experiencing concussion symptoms and all this really not fun stuff that he's been going through lately. So all the best to him. The St. Louis Blues have been doing it without Jordan Kyrou for 3 games. He was out with an illness. He is back. He's back in the next game tonight after missing 3. And the Blues attack definitely misses Kyrou when he's not out there. But again, they're a team with depth too. The teams with depth very often are the ones to watch come playoff time. So that will work to the benefit of the St. Louis Blues. So yeah, him being back is going to be good. Speaking of guys coming back, Tucker Poolman returned for the Canucks last night and played about 4.5 minutes before he ends up out. And after the game, Bruce Boudreau admitting he aggravated previous head injury. He was suffering from migraines and headaches. So again, if I had to hazard a guess, I would say that, being in the National Hockey League and being out on the ice and just any kind of contact, if you've been having problems with migraines and headaches, contact could definitely bring all that back. So I wish Poolman the best. Of course, there's discussions about whether or not he was brought back too early. We definitely see that right now, this time of year. Teams are trying to, get into the playoffs, and for teams below the playoff line trying to get there, we may see guys come back too early. So it's possible he kind of came back before he should have. Him being re-injured would tell you that's probably the case. But yeah, so without Poolman, they're short of defensemen, and Patrick Allvin is causing a lot of discussion locally because he's basically saying they're going to evaluate everybody. And it's basically right now for Vancouver, it's looking at who's going to want to stay long-term and who's going to help them out long-term and figuring out what's best for the team. So it definitely sounds like there's going to be some shakeups with the Vancouver Canucks over the summer. I look forward to that because it is a team that needs a shakeup. It is. That game against Vegas last night, Vegas is playing that desperate hockey. They've been playing that desperate hockey for weeks. For the Canucks, it's kind of fallen off. The desperate hockey's it's been there at times, like we saw it last night for Vancouver in the third period, but they don't seem to be getting that desperate hockey that, in desperate hockey, the way it looks is you're first to the puck, you're throwing hits, you throw everything at the net that you can, you get screen in front of the net, and you're doing everything you can to make sure you're establishing the lead and come out strong. And while I've seen that with Vegas, I haven't seen that so much with Vancouver. And so that's part of the reason why, as well as that homestand that just wasn't a huge success, that I looked at the Canucks schedule remaining and the number of points they needed and said, yeah, they're not going to make it this year. But they'll be fun to watch in the offseason, like I said, because there's going to be some changes. So while it's probably going to be Besser, I would think that might end up going. They've hedged on that too. Maybe it is going to be Garland. But of course, all that got put off. We thought we might see something at the deadline. We didn't. And now it all is going to get delayed until probably the draft. We'll start to see some big moves. And the draft should be a lot of fun. And of course, it's delayed a little bit from where it normally would be because the season's all pushed back. I'm looking forward to next season when we get more of a normal regular season. 82 games evenly spread out. And, not the compressed schedule. This schedule's crazy right now. So look for the injury board to continue to populate itself pretty easily from day to day as we're looking at more intense battles because playoff spots are on the line and games closer together where you might be playing 3 and 4 nights more often, and so you're going to see greater risk for injury there. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.